Hello, I'm Jeff Cavins, and today we're going to look at the scriptures for the third Sunday in Ordinary Time. We continue on with the theme in the liturgical calendar of God manifesting Himself and not only restoring Israel, but restoring the entire world. And piece by piece, little by little, He is giving us His plan. He is showing us how this plan is going to be manifest. And once again, we go back into Isaiah's word in Isaiah chapter 9, and he talks about a particular place in Israel where this light is going to shine, and it's going to be a significant place when it comes to restoring all of the nations. But there will be no gloom for her that was in anguish. In the former time, He brought into contempt the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali. But in the latter time, He will make glorious the way of the sea, the land beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. Now he's talking about an area just north of the Sea of Galilee, and a major highway went through this area. It was known as Galilee of the Gentiles. Galilee was divided into two sections back in those days, Upper Galilee and Lower Galilee. The Upper Galilee was primarily made up of Gentiles. Those are non-Jewish people. Lower Galilee were Jews. He goes on and he says, "The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who dwelt in a land of deep darkness, on them has light shined. You have multiplied the nation. You have increased its joy. They rejoice before you as with joy at the harvest, as men rejoice when they divide the spoil." So we know that this area in the area of Upper Galilee is going to be a significant area in the future. And indeed, this is where Jesus sets up His headquarters. And He says, of course, in the scripture says, the people in darkness will see a great light. I cannot tell you how many bad things happened in Upper Galilee as every nation wanted to control this way of the sea, this major highway from Syria up north all the way down to Egypt. When people are fighting over property and people are fighting over things, oftentimes there is bloodshed. But in the middle of that, God is going to bring His peace. His light is going to shine. I don't think it's a coincidence that in the reading this week in Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 1, Paul exhorts the Corinthian Christians to not be divided. Remember that Galilee was divided between Jews and Gentiles, and there was a tremendous amount of division there. In the early church, as the Gentiles began to come into the church, there was some strife. And the key to this plan becoming successful, and that is all the nations will hear about Jesus, it's important that all of us get along. Not only get along, but we walk in peace. We walk in harmony. In the gospel reading, chapter 4, it's one of the most famous of all gospel readings. It's the call of the early disciples. And I particularly like this because it's so personal, because the call of the disciples is also your call to become a disciple of Jesus. Jesus, as a rabbi in Galilee, called 12 men, Talmidim, disciples, to come and follow Him. And it's a beautiful text. It says, "Now when He heard that John had been arrested, He withdrew into Galilee." And it even tells us at this point that He withdrew into Galilee, leaving Nazareth, He went and dwelt in Capernaum by the sea, in the territory of Zebulun and Naphtali, that what was spoken by the prophet Isaiah might be fulfilled, which is Isaiah chapter 9, verses 1 through 3. It's immediately after this, when he speaks about this Isaiah text in chapter 9, that He chooses His 12 disciples, and He says something to them that is very significant. As He walked by the Sea of Galilee, He saw two brothers, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew, his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And He said to them, Lech acharai, in Hebrew. It means in English, come follow me. It means that we are invited to be His companion. We are invited to sit at His feet and to learn, to watch His life, to look at His worldview and adopt that worldview, with the hopes that one day we will share with other people and make disciples ourselves. The key to the whole world seeing the light, the key to the whole world experiencing the life of Christ is now dependent upon disciples that He is training, who will go out into the world and spread the gospel. What about today? It's no different. The only way that people at work, where you work, your neighborhood, your family, the only way that they're going to hear about Jesus Christ, and the only way they're going to see this great light in the midst of their darkness, is through you. It's through you. You are the light of the world. You are the salt, which we're going to learn about in weeks ahead. There's a lot depending on us today. Let me just close by encouraging you. Isaiah says it was in deep darkness that this light was shining. If you're going through a deep darkness in your life, a time of desperation, a time of discouragement, I want to encourage you to seek the light of God in Jesus Christ. I want to encourage you to embrace the church more fully. It is in the church and with Christ that you are going to find the answer to the darkness that you might be facing in your life today. Just as there was darkness in the Galilee of the Gentiles, there is darkness in the United States and around the world today. But the same gospel will release you. The same gospel will lead you into the light. God bless you.